What's up, Heat Nation? Sam Shapiro here with your Heat latest on FanArc, just to talk about finally the first good trade Miami's made this offseason, as well as some rumors still lingering around South Beach, seeing if we're going to make a move at any point before the regular season. We're in the middle of July, but this past Monday, July 7th, finally making a good trade for Norman Powell, the 2-3 combo guard or forward, so to speak, from the Clippers in that three-team trade that sent John Collins all the way to the Clippers as well. And Miami completely fleecing LA in this trade, getting away with stealing Norman Powell for Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson in that three-team trade like I just mentioned, and Miami getting a pretty high volume score on efficient shooting for basically nothing. Giving away, a veteran player, unfortunately, in Kevin Love, and then another role player in Kyle Anderson. But the return we got from this, kudos to Pat Riley. This is what he's known for doing best, getting high-volume players for a pretty good price, and we see that in full action right now. This veteran player coming off his arguably one of his best years in his 10-year career so far, averaging just under 22 points a game on 48% shooting from the floor overall and 41% from deep ball. Honestly, I'm very happy with Miami making Powell up in this trade just because of the additional depth this adds. A starter caliber player that you could either, kind of have coming out in this game at the 2-3 spot. You can kind of interchange between Tyler Herro, maybe at the 1 or 2 guard, but Andrew Wiggins kind of moving him around as well just creates more depth on the front end for Miami as well. And even just taking a look at their depth chart now, adding Powell into the mix, you can have Davion Mitchell coming off the bench, Palo Larson also kind of getting in the mix, but then Kasparis Jakuchonis, who we're going to mention a little bit later in this episode, not necessarily having to come out being that starting point guard. You could have Tyler Herro come out at the 1, Powell at the 2, Wiggins at the 3, Bam at the 4, and Kel'el Ware at that 5 spot. That's what ESPN's showing the ideal depth chart for Miami kind of looking like right now. And Powell also loving the trade too, taking to social media, voicing that he's always been a big fan of Dwayne Wade's game, and now he kind of gets to play for that same kind of environment, that same kind of Heat culture. And very exciting to see Miami make a move like this in the offseason for a veteran guy that can come out and hopefully be a 20-point scorer for Miami to start the season, hopefully adding a lot of strengths in terms of offense to the ball as well. We didn't really see him a lot in terms of many of the other columns of efficiency, like playmaking and rebounding necessarily during the regular season with the Clippers, but adding scoring for this team is definitely going to be very vital going into this season, and adding a guy like Powell, definitely a good move this offseason so far for South Beach. But that kind of begs the next question. Lillard, now do you kind of make the push for Damian Lillard to be that main priority in free agency? And I still think, yes, absolutely, adding another veteran guy who's over the age of 30. I know Miami really trying to stay young and trying to get much younger as this offseason progresses, unfortunately. But, you have to take into consideration having some veteran guys in the locker room, whether they're able to take the floor or not, could be beneficial to some of these younger guys like Tyler Herro, Kel'el Ware, and Kasparis Jakuchonis, who we just picked up in the draft as well. So very interesting to see how Miami kind of navigates that. I know July 2023, kind of 2 years looking back now, but when Damian Lillard was looking to leave Portland, he did say that his top destination was Miami, and I don't see how that would necessarily change from then versus now. Him teaming up with Giannis in Milwaukee didn't necessarily prove to be the best experience, and with this Achilles injury this past postseason, could definitely didn't pose his best stint in Milwaukee. So I definitely think the hope that he could come to Miami, maybe revigorate himself as an all-star that could maybe lead a team to an Eastern Conference Finals or maybe an NBA Finals berth, could possibly still be in the cards in years to come. Probably not going to be this next season, but having a veteran guy like that in the locker room, now pairing him up with a guy like Norman Powell, could be great. I definitely think it would be a promising duo, would help kind of move Powell to the 3 position and also kind of let Herro do his thing at the 2 position as well. Definitely think it would create even more depth that we have now as well. And now you have guys like Palo Larson, Javi Vasquez now also coming off the bench. So it just kind of creates guys that maybe had a little bit of a bigger load before. Now they can, kind of come off the bench and develop a little bit more. But also kind of having a high volume scorer as well, in that front court and back court, considering he can play the 2 and the 3. So I think Damian Lillard should be a top destination for Miami. And I think Miami should definitely prioritize looking into getting him now, especially because due to injuries, the asking price for him, particularly right now, could be very low. Now, in terms of who else Miami's been looking at, I know Jonathan Kuminga has been a big target for Miami still, but I think as of right now, he's pretty likely to stay in the Bay just because Golden State is really waiting to make any moves this free agency season because they want to see what Kuminga's trying to do. And there hasn't really been a top-tier contender that's come forward to make an offer. Sacramento and Miami being the two biggest franchises that, really want to utilize, making this young small forward that could potentially be a two-way star a good offer. But I think that Golden State is going to try to match whatever Miami or Sacramento plans to do in terms of giving him a pretty penny and trying to get him on a consistent 2-3 year deal. So I saw that Golden State also linked towards trying to pick up veteran guys like Al Horford, but they're holding off on that because they want to see what Kuminga's going to do. And I honestly can't blame them because, like I've said time and time again, Kuminga, very solid two-way star, and they're going to try to, I guess, prioritize keeping him as a mainstay in their roster. So I don't think it's very likely Miami picks him up this season. I think he might play out one more year with Golden State and then try to see what asking price he could get elsewhere. But I think Golden State's going to try to match it just because they see the potential in him going forward and don't necessarily want to see him leave, when there's a potential that he could go back to the Bay and play for another season. Now, another thing developing this past week, as Miami moves into play in Las Vegas with the Summer League, their first-round pick, Kasparis Jakuchones, he finally had a first good game. And it was very exciting to see the 20th overall pick ball out against the Atlanta Hawks. Didn't hit a single three-point shot in any of those 3 games in the Bay. And, very promising to see him come out and shoot 4 threes and, accumulate 19 points in that first half game in the first game in Las Vegas. Watching those highlights, it was very promising seeing his catch and shoot ability, but also his playmaking ability as well. And his draft report, it said him playing off ball was one of his strengths, and this game very much showed the guy we were, hoping to draft for. A very solid off-ball point guard, a lot of great shots, but a lot of those three-pointers too. I believe he hit 5 in the entire contest, scored 24 points overall. It was very promising to see him scoring. They weren't easy buckets. A lot of them catch and shoot, pretty contested shots for a point guard, had a very good shooting ability, and could almost kind of play like a combo guard, very similar to our guy Tyler Herro. So it was nice to see him shoot pretty efficiently. I believe he shot 5 of 9 on the day, maybe 6 of 9 overall on the field, but it was just very promising to see him come out, play very confidently, score, have more than a 20-point piece in that matchup. And he was very much looking like the 20th overall pick that we drafted on draft night just a few maybe about a month ago now. But Jakuchones definitely showing that he is a talent. He's definitely no bust. And although he had a plethora of turnovers and couldn't hit a single 3 in any of those 3 games in California, it was very nice to see him kind of have the last laugh in his debut in Vegas. And I'm hoping there's more to come in terms of the next games coming forward against Cleveland, I believe, and Boston heading into this week. For more information on your Heat latest here, you can tune into FanArc. I'll be having pretty daily content going forward as Miami kind of navigates through the rest of the Summer League, hoping that we make a move towards Damian Lillard or Jonathan Kuminga as July and August develop, creating more depth for the South Beach squad heading into the beginning of the regular season. Thanks so much for tuning into your Heat latest. I'm Sam Shapiro, and have a great day.